Dancing games. There were a lot of dancing games at E3. And I was going to do a fully produced review where I talk about all of them in turn, but I figure I'll do it now. Um, the dancing game craze is a big fad right now, and deservedly so. It's a lot of fun. Um, so there's I don't even know where to start, but I guess I'll start with the Kinect and the fact that I was legitimately blown away. I was surprised by Dance Central 2 by the sheer virtue of the fact that it now has multiplayer. I honestly I hate Dance Central for the sheer sole reason that there is no multiplayer. Don't even tell me that there's a multiplayer where you kind of tag in and out, or there's one person in front of the camera, one person playing the game, one person at any given time. That is inexcusable. Because the only time, okay, not the only time, but one of the only time, the major time you play a dancing game is at a party, when friends are over, when people can laugh and embarrass themselves and have fun and get together and sing along with the songs and dance together. I have no idea why Dance Central only had functionality for one player at one time. It blows my mind, and that's been the problem with all the Kinect games. The Michael Jackson experience for the Kinect, one person at one time, and that even made the double faux pas of actually making you stop dancing to sing with the videos. I never got that. It blows my mind. Even worse, the dance routines for the Michael Jackson experience on the Kinect are terrible. They are in no way even close to the original dance routines. I was blown away by that. The Wii version of the Michael Jackson experience isn't great, but it is way better than the Kinect version, just because for the sheer, well, there's multiplayer for one, and the dances, while not exact, are much closer to the original routines. They're not there, but they're way closer, and there's no stopping to fucking sing. I would have loved it was an option, but most of the times it's not. But anyway, the Kinect. Yeah, Dance Central 2 finally has introduced the concept of two people in front of the camera at one time. It blew me away, the fact that there's multiplayer. They finally realized that people like to play Dance Central with other people. It's amazing. Now, I like dancing games, even though physically I can only do like one at a time. But I really like doing them. But I am not a fan of Dance Central, and this comes down to personal preference. I actually know Angry Joe loves the Dance Central games, and I don't. And the reason for that, it's a very silly reason. Well, I wouldn't say it's a silly reason, now that I think about it, but here we go. I like Just Dance way better than I like Dance Central. And it's a very simple reason why. I find that Dance Central is way too the track list is way too localized to pop songs of this year and last year, like the last 3 years, let's say. So there's a lot of Lady Gaga, there's a lot of Pink, stuff like that. That's the music that kids listen to these days, and I'm not a big fan. You know, one or two occasionally, but a lot of these songs I don't really care about. And I find that whenever we play Just Dance 2, because when we were shooting the Suburban Nights, every time I've had a group together and we've tried to sit down and play the Kinect, it's really frustrating because usually it's only one person at a time, and the music just doesn't speak to people. You know, most of the time the music just doesn't appeal to them. But when we put Just Dance 2 in on the Wii, they had a much more fun time. And the reason is, the music selection for Just Dance 2 and 3 is far more diverse and fun than I think the pop music selections of Dance Central. Now again, that's personal preference. I'm fully with you. A lot of people really like that stuff. And I'm not saying that one side is wrong or the other. But for me, and a lot of people that always, everyone pretty much agreed when we played it, that the Dance Central lineup was more eclectic, it was more fun, and it kind of had those it kind of had those songs that brings people out of their shells. You know what I mean? There's a lot of these really fun songs that you wouldn't necessarily think would be on a game, but people kind of dig it. You know, like for instance, there's the Charleston. You know that you can do the Charleston on this game. You can do. You remember that song at the end of Beetlejuice, "Jump in the Line"? You know, shake, 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 senora. That that song. It's a great couples dance, and even better that Just Dance involves couples dances, which is phenomenal. I still don't think Dance Central has involved any. I can't speak for certain, but I don't think Dance Central 2 has anything really in the way of couples dances. But it's actually very interesting the fact that you know, if you have a guy and a girl who want to dance and they can do this dance, they kind of have this thing where they have separate but fun routines, and they can do their Charleston, they can do Jump in the Line. There's other dances like that, and the fact that just the sheer fact that there's couples dances in this game makes it actually something that really breaks the ice. It makes it fun and it makes it memorable. And so I was really impressed with Just Dance 3. Now, the big thing holding it back, and the big thing that's holding almost every dancing game on the Wii back, is the fact that the motion control with the Wiimote is very imprecise. It's basically impossible to score the dancing games. It's very hard. I almost never get a good score on Just Dance because it doesn't so much count where your hand is, it's where your hand is pointing, if that makes sense. You got to hold it very specifically, and you got to point your hand in that certain direction, and even then, you're not sure where you're going wrong. Scoring has always been a problem with dancing games, even with the Kinect, even though the Kinect does do a much better job at scoring. If you care at all about scoring, I would not suggest Just Dance. Really, Just Dance is meant for those people who just want to get up and just dance. You know, it's not meant for if you care about like achievements or score or anything like that. It's just something to put in the machine to get people having fun. And to me, that's what the dancing games are about. Not about score or 5-starring routines. It's just about getting some people together, playing a crazy song, and having fun. And so it's really that wide, diverse selection of music from the 60s to today that makes Just Dance 3 the real standout dancing game of E3. Even though it's kind of on an older console, and it's not that. And I still think Just Dance is very visually impressive, and Just Dance 3 actually does more with the couples dancing. By that I mean, I was sold on Just Dance 3 because the demos they were doing were phenomenal. Now, they had really good dancers up there, but just here's a few examples of the songs they had that they were demoing on Just Dance 3. They had Aha's Take on Me. You can dance to Take on Me. That is brilliant. You can do the thrashing against the walls and stuff like that. It's a good dance routine. You can do one of my favorite songs of all time, and I know this makes me sound like a complete dork, but I Was Made for Lovin' You by Kiss. They have that song on Just Dance 3. I was so sold watching that. And the really cool part about that is you can have 4 people doing this routine, each one playing a different member of Kiss. And each one of those people has a different routine. So you've got, you can do the drummer, you can do the guitar bit, and they're not just strumming the guitar, they have a little dance routine as well, but they all have a different routine. And there's also a moment where they all have a solo moment. So we're like, during the drum solo, the drummer kind of steps forward and does his routine. During the main verse, there's a segment where you kind of do a power slide, and every person gets their moment to shine and do a separate routine. I was just blown away by it. I cannot even tell you how impressed I was. And that's not to say Dance Central 2 doesn't look like fun. It just looks like a different kind of music, not necessarily my kind of music. It's just that kind of variety that I think at a party you're more likely to find a song that anybody can willingly dance to. Dance Central, with the pop music, with the recent pop music, it's likely that you're going to find some people who just don't find anything they want to dance to, and I really think it's that wide selection that really sells people. There was another dancing game that was kind of funny. Everybody Dance for the Sony Move. It looks a lot like Just Dance because they basically have a video capture of a dancer doing the routines, which is essentially the same thing they have in Just Dance. Has a very similar look aesthetically. It's very similar in that, um, and it looked pretty good. I can't speak for the song selection because I only saw a couple songs being played, and I also can't speak necessarily for how much in terms of multiplayer it has. Probably has room for two. I don't know. But the Sony Move is one of those things where Sony is really trying to at least put a token effort towards keeping it going and reminding us it's there. But I think it's really hard for people to care about the Sony Move. I think it works. I think it works fine. It's just really hard. I don't think they have the kind of third party developer support behind the Sony Move, and so it's a lot harder for people to care about Everybody Dance. I don't know. I don't have a Move, so I'm not likely to get one. It could be okay. I don't know, but those are the dancing games. Oh, another dancing game I thought was actually very impressive. I was at 505 Studios, the same company that does Michael Phelps Push the Limit, where you do the swimming thing. They had a game called Grease, where it's basically a dancing game set to the show tunes from the musical Grease, which I rather like the idea of. I like the idea, even though I say I don't like the pop music of Dance Central. I don't mind that it's so niche. I don't mind that it's selective in its music. I don't mind that it's narrowly focused. That's fine. In fact, I actually prefer it that way, because I always think one of the main problems with games like Rock Band and Guitar Hero is sometimes the range is too wide. There's songs that you hate, that sometimes these games force you to play through songs you hate, like for instance Coldplay. I fucking hate Coldplay. I hate Jane's Addiction. So whenever those artists are on there, I grit my teeth and I'm like, I don't want to play this. So I always like the idea of having downloadable content that's very narrowly focused. And so I think it's a brilliant idea that they should keep going forward with this, like buying a dancing game that's focused on karaoke and dancing for Grease. If you don't like it, don't buy it, but it's a dream come true if you like that musical. And so they've got all the songs down there, and you can dance, and it has couples routines. Very, very cool game. I actually rather liked it a lot. It was a little shaky with the Kinect hardware. I still don't know how much with the Kinect hardware there is with hand waving, and there's probably some black magic going on with the Kinect, because I honestly don't know how they get it to work sometimes. By that I mean, they do couples dances with the Kinect where you have one person here and one person here, and they can kind of meet and they can kind of cross over in front of each other. And I don't know if the Kinect is able to reconcile that. By that I mean, it's actually, there's a lot of technology and a lot of processing that goes on to acquire one target and acquire a second target and keep those targets identified. It probably freaks the Kinect out when you have those two targets crossing in front of and behind each other, trying to figure out which one is which, and I don't actually know if it can. I think they might actually just say whoever ends up on the left is player one, whoever ends up on the right is player two. I don't know. But you can almost see the smoke coming out of the Kinect when you cross over in front of each other. And it's probably a programming nightmare. It really is. But I actually rather like the idea of having a dance game focused, a singing and dance game focused on a musical. I can see this working with a lot of different places. Musicals, individual bands. I think it could really take off. So that's my brief rundown of all the dancing games. I did not see a single Rock Band or any kind of guitar game at E3. I'm sure there was a one or two there, but I didn't see nothing Guitar Hero, nothing Rock Band related. Honestly, it's probably a fad that developers seem to think is on the way out. Dancing is where it's at, though, because there was a lot of dancing games out there, and they were big. Ubisoft for Just Dance 3 had a huge stage right in the middle of the floor. Very cool stuff.